Verse 11 records David's confidence. By this I know that thou favorest me, because mine enemy doth not triumph over me. Psalm 41, verse 11. The phrase, by this I know, introduces David's assurance. He is certain of God's favor. The verb know speaks of experiential knowledge, not mere intellectual understanding. David knows God's favor through lived experience. The clause, that thou favorest me, states what David realizes. The verb favorest means to delight in or take pleasure in. God delights in David. The Lord takes pleasure in him. This favor does not depend on David's strength or worthiness. God's favor flows from his character and covenant promises. David provides evidence of this knowledge, because mine enemy doth not triumph over me. The word because introduces the proof, and the phrase mine enemy refers to those who oppose David. The verb doth not triumph speaks of shouting in victory. David's enemies shouted his defeat. They declared David would never rise again. Yet David still lives. His continued existence proves his enemies were wrong. That his enemies have not prevailed testifies to God's protection. This verse reveals an important truth about divine favor. God's favor appears not in the absence of enemies, but in their failure to destroy. David faces real opposition. His enemies surround him. They speak evil against him. Even a close friend betrays him. Yet they do not triumph. Their victory remains incomplete. The Lord preserves David despite their attacks. Verse 12 explains God's preservation. And as for me, thou upholdest me in mine integrity, and settest me before thy face forever. Psalm 41, verse 12. The phrase, and as for me, marks a personal statement. David speaks from his own experience. Upholdest means to support or sustain. God holds David up. The Lord provides strength when David cannot stand alone. The phrase, in mine integrity, describes the sphere of God's upholding. Integrity means completeness or wholeness. David maintains his character. He does not compromise his convictions, despite pressure from his enemies. God sustains David's moral standing. The Lord preserves his righteousness. This preservation does not mean David claims perfection. The psalm begins with a confession of sin. David acknowledges his transgressions, yet God maintains David's fundamental loyalty and devotion. The second clause reveals the result, and settest me before thy face forever. The verb settest means to establish or place. God establishes David in his presence. The phrase before thy face speaks of intimate fellowship. David stands in God's presence and enjoys access to the Lord. The word forever makes this position permanent. God will not cast David away. The Lord will not remove him from his presence. This verse connects to Nathan's prophecy after David's sin with Bathsheba. When Nathan confronted David, he declared, Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also that is born unto thee shall surely die. 2 Samuel 12, verse 14. David faced consequences for his sin. Despite judgment, God did not abandon David. The Lord preserved David's kingdom and maintained him in his presence. God corrected David and showed his commitment to their relationship. David's confidence rests on God's character. The Lord maintains his children. He upholds them in their integrity. He establishes them in his presence forever.